All right, folks, I am back. This is going to be another one of my Discord League games. This is a Crane deck that I put together. It is different from the one that you've seen me playing recently. So it's not the Sevenfold Palace honor running, but it is still honor running because we can't get away from it. I just love counting to 25. So you can kind of see basically the game plan here. Distinguished Dojos, Kakita Blades, the Iaijutsu Masters, things like that, all just to gain you honor over time. Now, the thing that makes this deck weird is the splash. So I'm running Crab Splash for Reprieve and Rebuild, which is actually my RL card. So you saw, I don't know if you noticed on the provinces, but I didn't have Magistrate Station in here. So yeah, it's interesting. You can see I kind of maybe overspent arguably on the Doji Challenger there, but it's hard to say because you really do, once you start building a tower, you want it to stick around, and particularly against Scorpion, you can have some real issues if they decide to like keep their dispatches and things like that. It can make Void Rings extremely powerful for them because it allows them to kill your tower even sooner. And my opponent already has a dispatch up, so I've already got to like deal with that. So yeah, so we are going to defend your honor, see if our opponent cancels this with a, yep, we get a forgery out of him. We're kind of okay with this. So he's using court games to honor a friendly character. That will shut off my voices, so I'm going to stop and think about it, but yep. I'm going to cancel that. As you can see, we're taking no steps whatsoever to be proactive here. It's a very defensive deck. So basically what I want to do is just kind of sit here, to be honest. Defend things, build up my row with cards that either duel or benefit me from dueling, and go from there. So he's kind of got a clear game plan here. Asami means that he is probably looking for a Kachiko. Kachiko is actually not something I had really thought of when I built this deck, but she's a huge problem for it in a way that I didn't really foresee, because she can't be targeted by duels if Asami's out. She's also got pretty healthy stats, so it's harder to win the duels, which Kakita Blade and Distinguished Dojo need me to do. But I'm looking at this right now and just seeing, you know, I have a bunch of duels. Or rather, I don't have a bunch of duels. This is actually a problem for me on this turn. I've got one duel, Yuri's. I drew into the return the offense, which is good. But I can like trigger Iaijutsu Master. You know, once, maybe twice if my return the offense doesn't get canceled. But that's hard. So and my deck doesn't run Assassination, so I can't get rid of the Yogo Asami, which is kind of rough. So we're trying to decide here, are we going to do anything? Now, I do have the formal invitation that'll allow me to move in on a defensive play. And we found Midnight Revels, which is pretty great. This deck doesn't actually run 5-drops, I don't think. I'm remembering the build correctly. So Midnight Revels, while Kachiko is out +3, is like perfect, right? So we want to get a duel off here. But it looks like we're not going to have that opportunity unless, you know, we do have that formal invitation. That can get somebody into the fight, right? I'm honestly not sure if it's worth it. And it's been a couple days since this game, so I try to make sure that I'm not super fresh with all the games, so that there's a little bit of discovery for me too. But you can see my thinking here, right? I want to get the formal invitation on Asami. That'll allow me to pull Asami in. I can then use Kakita Yuri's duel to shut down my opponent's military attack. The the mistake here, I think, was not sending in Doji Challenger. So my opponent then calling in favors the formal onto the same character it's already on. The key there, though, is that it changes controllers, so I can no longer use it to pull her in. So I can either break this Rebels or I can move out with this favorable ground, and I favor moving out. Basically, it just gives me the opportunity to reuse Yuri later on. And I don't think my opponent's going to move in, because claiming the Void Ring as defender when you're Keeper of Air is not super useful. But he does it anyway. I honestly, I don't understand that play. Yes, it gets you +1 towards the favor and all that, and Asami's not doing a lot as a dishonored, 1-2 political character, but that's still more than nothing. And all she's doing now is +1 glory, right? So I don't really understand that move. But here we're just gonna defend, basically. Our conflict discard doesn't have enough in it for us to have played against us. We've got, remember, a Defend Your Honor and a Voice of Honor in there. So what Kachiko does is going to be annoying, but, now we're going to play Way of the Crane. Also not a card my opponent can play from my discard. Considering the cancel, doesn't cancel. And basically we're just going to defend this Earth Ring and then use the Doji Challenger to do, I don't know, something else. So we've got a couple options, and actually this really opens us up because the Meek Informant can be targeted, which means that the Meek Informant has to be targeted. So this allows us to use Yuri's duels for value. The risk is my opponent has that Season of War sitting there. So if I'm going to get greedy here, and I'm definitely going to, then I need to break Season of War this turn and hope he doesn't flop another one, which is not the easiest thing. Because I'm not going to crack my Distinguished Dojos for honor gain yet. I'm going to wait a little bit to try to get more honor out of them total. Yeah, so now Yuri's not bowing, so I'm actually going to be probably claiming the favor here. And I can throw out this Iaijutsu Master, which is actually a little bit late. I could be up to 12 honor while my opponent's down to 8 if I had thrown that out on a previous conflict. In fact, I could have stolen 2 more honor. Well, no, hold on. I could be up 3 honor from where I am right now, right? So that was just poor play. If I put out the Iaijutsu Master, so Iaijutsu Master, Kakita Blade, I have enough fate to do that. And it would have allowed me to drain 2 with the Iaijutsu Masters, gain 1 from Kakita Blade. So I'd be at 14 now. So that's not great as an outcome, right? My opponent cannot declare military conflicts. You can see I'm acknowledging how badly I screwed that up. And then deciding better of telling my opponent that I've screwed up. My opponent, by the way, FroTop, this is, I believe, his first game not playing City of the Open Hand, trying to adjust. A lot of Scorpion players are moving over to Kyuden Bayushi. And yeah, it's obviously, yeah, it takes some adjustment. Kyuden Bayushi is like, it's a completely different play style from Kodo. Far more focused on breaks than the kind of more passive version. So we draw out another For Shame. We could voice it, but I actually really want to save that voice because, again, I'm worried about that Season of War, and the voice gives me another out for it. So we get that again. We play our third Way of the Crane, which must just be infuriating. we're winning. That's the big thing here, is that we want to win this Earth Ring, hold on to all our cards, deny our opponent the glory. Again, they can't declare military conflicts, so that part isn't really an issue. I think I end up... I leave Yuri back. I don't actually know why, since my opponent can't declare conflicts. Did I end up sending him in? Let's find out. Yes. No, apparently not. Okay. So yeah, Yuri's not coming in. We just break effective deception and kill the Season of War. Gain 2. So again, if you're keeping track, I should be at 17 honor if I had played this turn correctly. Now, there's some argument to saving the fate and all that. Maybe he has a calling in favors for the Iaijutsu Master. But if he did, he didn't play it, right? He could have put it on the... Or he could have stolen it with the Meek Informant. So maybe he's saving it for more important attachments later. I don't know. But we are just okay with this Wallow Holdings. Just drawing one character a turn. The argument for saving the fate is that I have 2 Wealth of the Crane in hand. Right now, they are... they're going to cost me 3 fate. But I'm actually okay with that, right? So I'm just going to hard pass. I'm expecting to eat a break here because I think Kachiko is just going to roll up on her own. And there's not much I can do if that happens, right? We are going to bid 1. So our opponent gives us 2 there. So again, we'd be at 19. Although if we were pushing that much honor, it'd be a completely different thing. So he ends up giving us 3 because he does use the manipulator to increase his bid by 1. So now we're at 16, and now I'm starting to look at, okay, can we get there this turn? The big thing is the Doji Challenger gives me the option to pull people into a conflict, so I know I'm going to be able to get duels off. It's just a matter of when and where. So we're going to drop Kaizen there. We think we have a reasonable chance of defending it. Proving Ground is an obvious one. Favorable Ground we definitely want. Because again, it gives us more flexibility on getting our people into conflicts. And we're playing this in the draw phase, importantly, because we can play the next one in the conflict phase. Wealth of the Crane is max 1 per phase. So it's very important when you do that, if you have multiple of them in hand. Now, what I should do here, and what I think I don't do, is play the second one. I only have 3 fate that I can spend in hand otherwise. So if I spend that 3, I've still got 2 extra for cards that I draw off of my multiple proving grounds. But if you do the math, right, I don't actually have a lot of duels right now. I have Yuri's duel, and that's it. So I really need to hit some Kakita dojos. So he attacks with the manipulator, which I think is a mistake. I think the correct thing there would have been just Kachiko, because she can't be targeted. So long as that Asami's around, she's basically immune to all my dueling honor shenanigans, and obviously this deck is trying to dueling honor at this point. So we get Mark of Shame mid. So there's probably some sort of other effect coming that's going to try to kill us, but we have Kyuden Kakita. So we are going to get the Kakita Blade off, use Iaijutsu Master, decrease the honor bid, Kakita Blade, draw a card with Proving Ground, draw a card with Proving Ground. Now, here's the question, is do you blow up these dojos? Because right now I don't have any other duels. And this was a mistake. So it puts me to 24 if I blow up the dojos. Look at all those reactions that had to happen to one duel. That was nutty. It puts me to 24. And then what, right? So I should have pre-played the Wealth of the Crane. I should have pre-played the other Kakita Blade. There's a bunch of different things I could have done there to have a different impact And when I bow this character, I don't notice it, but the game is over. So there's now a bowed character on board. I'm at 24, and I have a common cause in hand. I could play the common cause and sacrifice my Doji Challenger. Because it's a cost, even if the event gets canceled, the Doji Challenger dies, and I gain 1 honor. So, you know, he's going to break this, but I have the win on board. I'm just not seeing it, which is not great, but there you go. And I had multiple other outs too, right? So if I had Wealth of the Crane my way into a Kakita Dojo there, that would have been big. If I had hit another Distinguished Dojo, I would have won the game. So now I'm using the wealth late, and you can see, look, a Distinguished Dojo. Look at that. Chisei District goes there. Doesn't impact anything. It's just another +1 skill. I am still looking at this a little bit backwards. So they changed the formatting for this. It used to be that you didn't choose the province. It said, okay, for province 1, what do you want to put in there? And you'd pick a card. So you can see I'm just going left to right, but you don't have to do that. And I think it makes some of your decisions easier if you do things like, okay, well, this is a broken province. Here's the card I want to put on the broken province. Boom, let's go. But yeah, anyway, so I'm going to try to force this as much as I can. Because again, I don't see the win on board yet. Even though I definitely have it. So we're going to play some cards back and forth here. I was really hoping, honestly, that one of those was going to be a Kakita Dojo. So I could use Kakita Dojo on like Asami, draw 2 more cards. Maybe that gets me another duel, or even just like the Kakita Blades in my hand would have done it. Banzai on Kachiko isn't particularly scary. And again, remember, we have favorable ground here. So, like, let's just ignore the fact that the common cause win is available right now. Because Lord knows I am when I'm playing the game. Just gonna steal my Kakita Blade. Yeah, so I'd say that that's why I'm dumb, because I could have put that Kakita Blade on Yuri, and if I had counted correctly, I would now be winning the game. Right? The game would be over, rather. It would have ended last conflict. That manipulator. So, yeah. We're now just kind of waiting around. My opponent is going to figure out what they're doing. I'm at 7. I'm winning. They absolutely cannot let me win. Because of, obviously, I win the air ring, I win the game. So I'm just going to aggressively pass. My opponent's going to do a whole bunch of stuff. And eventually, my hand is going to shrink to the point where I realize how the game works. Now, I thought here he would take Doji Challenger and Kaizen. I mean, we're in a military conflict and all that, right? You know, I thought that gave him the most stats. I'm honestly not sure what the Cunning Negotiator was about. He already had a courtier in the conflict. It's fewer stats than Kaizen. To get him to Kaizen stats, see, now you can see me noticing the common cause, and I just win the game. Yeah, so, yeah, I eventually got to the point where my hand was small enough that I could see that I had the win in it all the time. Funny part, due to rules, common cause does not leave your hand before you win the game. So, yeah, that's the basic idea behind the deck. Play defensively, get a couple of duels on board, and honor bomb out with Distinguished Dojos, using Wealth of the Crane to find them, and rebuild to get them back into play. Keeper of Void, because a new name is insane with Tea House. And the other goal of the deck is to unironically play Chisei District. Yeah, it's not very good, but it's a deck full of 3-ofs, so I just kind of threw it in. The 1-drop suite, Chancellor's Aid, Callow Delegate, all that are just there because Common Cause needs fuel. And obviously I am playing, but did not see Doji Diplomats. So, yeah. The fact that this deck works is crazy. That's Fro, right? That's not a low-skill player. This is obviously coming out of left field, and again, he's getting used to a new deck, so there's some concessions to be made there, I think. But this deck is, yeah, it's crazy that I'm able to play such a do-nothing, low-value. I mean, I skipped an entire Dynasty phase. You don't see that too much anymore. The game tends to be high-pressure enough that you can't get away with that. And I had like 4 different outs to hit my win condition much earlier. So between the could have gained more honor with Kakita Blades. I could have played my Iaijutsu Masters on Yuri earlier. I could have wealthed into that second Distinguished Dojo. Like, there's just one thing after another that I could have done to make that a lot easier on me. Now, I mean, there's some argument for waiting on the wealth because he's got a manipulator up so he could forge it and things like that. But again, I had so many outs there that I didn't even see, and I still won. The deck seems a little crazy. It's definitely not good against everything. Season wrecks this deck because I still need all those holdings, and you only have so many rebuilds. I tried the rebuild character, Apprentice Engineer, for a while, but I didn't like the cost and the fact that it discards everything else from the provinces. Although in this game, you can actually see where it would have been fine, right? If I could have rebuilt Distinguished Dojo and tossed my Chancellor's Aid and Callow Delegate, I'm happy. So, yeah, it was kind of a weird game, learning experience for both of us. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. And I will see you on the next one. So just so you know, this is the deck I'm going to be playing for the remainder of this season, which I don't know how many other games I'm going to have rather than the Sevenfold Palace deck. Next month, I have signed up for the December Discord League as a Dragon player. Those of you who watch the stream will have seen me playing this weird, weenie, dragon, hand-hatey kind of deck that just speaks to all of my favorite things in life. So I'm going to be playing that. I don't know how good it is, to be honest. And credit to Workerbee and Dario, who I understand are the main creators of that deck list. So yeah, they have done a lot of work on it, obviously, and I'm just kind of piggybacking on that and using their good ideas. But yeah, it'll be fun. Kind of stretch my legs a little bit, see what's going on outside of the insanely OP realms of Crane. And yeah, so we will see you for that next month.